All right, my first guest, Danna Gibson, Coug Alumni. Danna, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks, Tyler, for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for coming down. I appreciate you making the drive.
Not a problem at all.
So how are things going? You're a busy woman.
I am a busy woman. Things are going great. They just seem to keep speeding up, but that's the fun of it.
So, Coug Alumni, can you tell us a little bit about your experience at Washington State?
Washington State was just that. It was an incredible experience, and the people I met there, the experience I got to enjoy and learn from have just helped me so much through life and all the stuff I'm doing right now. I was a graduate in the hospitality program, started working in hotels, restaurants outside of college, and somehow ended up in the beer world.
How are you liking the beer world?
It's great. It's very challenging. It's growing so incredibly fast. I mean, it's tough to keep up sometimes, but it's great.
With that growth, is there a lot of changes in kind of your position with the company?
Yes, the position I'm doing right now specifically was, I work for Samuel Adams Brewery. You know, it's a craft brewery. It's been around for a long time, but all of these local breweries keep popping up. There's on average 2 opening a day in the United States. So that creates a lot of competition. And so what they did specifically for my position was create a role that could really focus on those high-end bars where there's a lot going on, a lot of different beers, and just be very knowledgeable, competitive, and be a consultant to these retailers.
So is there a lot of competition with the tap handles with all these new craft, and everything's probably local too, which is kind of be a challenge for you?
Yes, this market in Seattle and just the Northwest in general is so unique. Nowhere else, not a lot of places will you go in the country where the taps here are constantly rotating. The most amount of kegs anyone of my accounts will bring in is 2, 3, but for the most part they are changing the tap every single keg, which is incredible.
And as you know from college, big beer drinker. I love IPAs, and I had a chance to sample some Rebal IPA yesterday for the holiday weekend, and just loved it. It's really good stuff. Has that been selling really well over here?
That has, and that one is one of our newest styles, and I'm really excited about it because we are, we're a Boston-based brewery. We've always sourced German hops, and it creates a different IPA flavor, and we just have kept asking for years, come on, let's make a Northwest, use Northwest hops, a West Coast style IPA, and this one nailed it. We use 5 Washington only hops, so it definitely appeals to our Northwest craft drinker too.
Yeah, you can grasp that local with the local hops. I like that. Hey, listeners just joining us, I've got Danna Gibson, and she's working for Samuel Adams, and we're just kind of learning the ins and outs of being a part of the beer world and working for one of the most successful companies in the nation in terms of distributing, correct?
Yeah, it's actually the largest American-owned brewery now. That the big guys are out in Belgium and South Africa, South America and everything. So it's the largest American-owned brewery.
How do you? Is there meetings? Is it a lot of phone calls, conference calls over the phone at a macro level to stay in touch on what's going on in other parts of the area?
There is. We always conference calls are a must. Just to stay in the loop with what's going on, because in this market there does happen to be a lot of local, I would say, people. There's, I think, 8 of us in the Seattle-ish area, and I used to live in Montana. I was the only person there, and it was you just have to stay connected with the Boston office and keep them in the loop, bring them out. There was just a girl here working with me last week from Boston, a guy from brand development, so they got to see those markets. We got to keep bringing them out here.
Probably fun to meet the different people across the country and see how business is going for them.
Absolutely. They like to send us a lot of times to other markets to learn just how the distributors work, what the drinkers are talking about, the retailers, all that good stuff. So
just a fun job working with beer. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah. What's it like? What's kind of your day-to-day like with your position? Are you pushing the product, or is it more online stuff, or what do you got going on?
I spend a lot of time on emails, keeping up with just the day-to-day business questions that arise, covering issues, and then I hit the market. My territory really consists of, it's saturated in Seattle market, so I drive there from Marysville, but I also go up to the islands, Bellingham. There's a lot of places popping up in Snohomish County, which is nice because it's a little bit closer.
In terms of the restaurants that you guys are at, is it more of the national franchises, or are you guys getting into some of the smaller local restaurants?
My job specifically focuses on those small, local, very local-driven bottle shops. So I spend a lot of times in the Bottle Works, the Beer Authorities, Special Brews in Linwood, just all those places of the world. Just to, I'm selling very hard to get beers in our portfolio. So It's just a lot of management of low volume, but it's gotta be there to sample these really craft-centric drinkers on our products.
It's got to be fun, some of the people you come across. Is that your favorite part of the job?
We meet a lot of different people. Some people that are just say, no way, Sam Adams, too big, this is a local market. And then you get some people that they have stories to tell of their experience with Jim Coug, our founder, from 25, 30 years ago, or their first craft beer that they had that was a Sam Adams. We meet a variety of people. It definitely, I hear stories all the time I've never heard before, or have heard and I can relate it to another story.
It's gotta be so much fun.
It's fun.
Do you guys do any blind tasting or any of that, comparing it to other beers?
We always do with our team. You know, when we came out with Rebal IPA, we did a lot of competitive sampling with Sierra Nevadas, New Belgium, and Lagunitas, and then a lot of the local guys, just so that we can be able to speak to that. Because when someone says, well, we don't want just another West Coast style, you just got to be able to talk about how it's different and how it, you know, is similar, some of the similarities. What do you like about those beers? Do you like that citrusy, grapefruit, you know, sweet, citrusy aroma? Or do you like that earthy, more of like a piney, resinous flavor? So you just got to talk to what they're looking for.
And your beer knowledge just lately has to be just going through the roof now.
It's been fun. I actually I have a certification called Certified Cicerone, which is the equivalent to a wine somm. And I went after that about 3 years ago, and I was one of the first probably 200 people in the country, or I guess in the world, to have it. It's a worldwide program, but there's about 1,000 people that have passed that test now. So it's still an elite group, but
Yeah.
it does certify me to know what I'm talking about, I would say.
How about any home brews?
I'm homebrewing soon. In the next few weeks, I'm terrible at it. It's one area I just wish I could be better. I lack patience. And sitting there waiting for that temperature to hit right at 55 so I can pitch yeast or something, it's difficult for me to just sit there and wait and watch that temperature drop at 1 degree an hour. So.
Yeah. It's definitely for a patient person, but it's pretty fun just testing it out and trying it out, right?
We definitely, our company is very focused on all the employees homebrewing every year. We all submit our home brews to the Boston Brewery for a competition. So, and one person gets to win and go to Germany and go to Oktoberfest every year, so I want that.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
So that's the goal, is to eventually win that and head over to Oktoberfest.
Yes, it's my dream.
That would be a good time. So your husband is he's an umpire in the Major League Baseball?
He is, yes, he's an umpire for professional baseball. He's, you know, contracted with minor leagues right now, but he's working all Major League games at the moment, so it's a really exciting time for us.
You guys got a busy family then. You've got a little one at home?
We do. One at like 20 months, I think he is.
Wow.
I don't even keep track after a year and a half.
Yeah.
Somewhere between that and 2. But he's a wild man, and the husband travels and I'm traveling, so we rely heavily on our family and our nanny.
Yeah, it's a dynamic family, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you get out to the ballpark to get catch the games?
We do. I started thinking about the other day and wondered how many baseball games I've been to, well, in my life, and nonetheless the last 5 years since I've known him, but it's countless. I bet I've been to hundreds of games in the last few years, just because I used to go so much more in all these different states. Around in San Francisco last weekend, don't know where he'll be the next time I get to see him, but my goal is to get to Boston and New York this year.
And these ballparks, are they carrying Samuel Adams?
I look every time. I absolutely go walk around the ballpark. I just like to look anyways to see what they offer, even from a local perspective and from a craft perspective. A lot of it is contracts, you know, with Anheuser-Busch and Miller Coors, so they give preference to those domestic specialty brands. You know, if it's Miller Coors, Parkville, Hop Blue Moon, and things like that, or Anheuser-Busch will be Shock Top. But I always look around for the local stuff, and if they have Sam Adams, I definitely I'm gonna try that one. Give them some love.
I love it. And then the company that you work for, I mean, it's just a ton of different beers, right? There's so many that people don't even realize that they're making.
We brewed over 64 beers last year.
Wow.
And no one would realize that, you know, a lot of them are very small batch beers, the rotationals, just ones you can't get even if we release it. I mean, I have some in inventory right now that we definitely don't even bottle them. I ordered in 12 small kegs, and call it a day when they're gone.
Wow.
We'll never see them again, so it's fun.
Now, do you pick up kegs and stuff when you guys have family events, or?
It's really tough to get me to take that cake back to the distributor. So I have a tendency not to do kegs, but I do a lot of bottles. We had a lot of like our summer variety pack yesterday for Easter. Celebrate with that one.
So Rebel IPA is one of the newer beers. Any other new beers you want to talk about that are coming out?
Gosh, from a standpoint where people could get them, we've got a braggot, which is a mead/beer style. So you have to like real sweet kind of mead, almost like a Chardonnay wine flavor. And we have that one coming out in the next few months, and a Bavarian Radler, which is called Bortracher, and that is a lemonade and beer, has that flavor. So it's really good porch, backyard drinking for the summer.
Yeah, a little summer shandy there.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. So out of those, what's your favorite, what's your go-to? Is it Angry Orchard, or are you going to be?
Yeah, well lately it has been. I mean, Angry Orchard is kind of a subsidiary sister part of our company, so I also represent that cider, the hard cider, and I drink a lot of the Angry Orchard because it's a little too easy to drink. But my favorite styles is like a Belgian white, and we actually, our spring seasonal cold snap was brand new this year, and I loved that one. But I'm always looking forward to the next seasonal, so now it's summer ale.
It's got to be fun just to see what's coming out next. And do you guys get together as a group and try these new beers before they get released?
We don't get to try a lot of them before they get released, but we'll get the first sample batches when they come in to the distributor, so I'll pull those out and taste it. And I love, summer ale was my very first beer I used to get into the craft beer world. That was my gateway, I guess you could call it. And I know that flavor so well, I know what to expect, and sometimes the lemon crop has changed and I'll notice that. I just love to sample them as they come out and see what's different, if anything.
Do you ever do any blogging, kind of rating scores on these things?
I used to use the Untapped, the app where you can track all the beers that you drink and kind of catalog them and you can rate them. But besides that, I've kind of gotten away from it because I felt, it was like giving unsolicited advice or opinion about beers that maybe I shouldn't have put in a public place.
Yeah,
being a craft beer industry.
Yeah, I've seen a guy that does that. It looks like he's just drinking beer all day long because it keeps popping up on my Twitter feed.
Oh yeah, there are so many beer bloggers out there. I leave it to the professionals. I like reading their blogs.
Let's go back to your typical day. What does that entail?
Well, I try and wake up, and there's so many things going on in my life with just outside of work and the 1.5-year-old, and I've got a little side business I've been working on, also part of the Alumni Association, so I have my schedule very regimented in my calendar and try and stick to it the best of my ability. The morning is a lot of admin, get ready, get the baby ready for the day, and I'm off to work. Either I work from home or I'm driving to these various accounts. And then when I get home, it's all about just catching up around the house and spending time with Grant. That's my son. And at the end of the day, after he goes to bed, that's when I'm kind of recapping, finishing up, following up with any commitments I made or orders I have from this side thing. And it's a lot going on in one day.
Yeah, you're a busy gal. So you've got you're working with the King County Association of Cougars?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that position?
Yeah, it's actually, I was the president for the Alumni Association in Arizona, and so I got back on board a couple months ago here. There's 3 people that sort of are in charge of the King County. It's just an enormous footprint, and we all kind of specialize in different areas, whether it be sporting events, social functions, wine tasting things. So we all have sort of events that we will co-chair with someone from just the local alumni chapter that wants to plan these events, and we just look for a lot of people getting involved and having their strengths apply to the events that we're putting together. So
it's just a great group of people, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I saw that a couple weeks ago you had Andrew Kim on the show, and his sister Lindsay's planning our wine symposium for the summer.
Oh, nice. We went to that a couple years ago. That was a good time.
Yeah, so we can look forward to that one this summer.
Excellent, excellent. So what's the future bring for you?
Well, the future's looking positive.
Yeah.
I think I'm up for, I'm interested in a promotion right now, so I'm kind of chasing that, and what that will do is probably allow me to focus on work for the next few months. I like to just dig in deep right away when I have something new in front of me, so hopefully lots of baseball trips to see my husband this summer. That would be really nice.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you coming in and making time to come down here and just catching up on what you've been doing.
Thanks, Tyler. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's good to have you. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Community Real Estate Talk Show. I'm your host, Tyler Free. We'll talk to you in a bit. Thanks.